Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the next lesson in the Su-25 Cadet Series. This time we are going to take a brief overlook of the unguided rockets used by the Su-25. Let's start from the smallest all the way up to the biggest. And oh my, is there a difference between the smallest and the biggest one. The smallest one is the S-5 rocket. It is a 55mm rocket. During the Soviet engagement in Afghanistan in the 80s, they realized that the S-5 is only effective against infantry and soft-skinned vehicles. Soft-skinned vehicle is defined as trucks and cars. That's it. The S-5 rocket is not useful or effective against anything else than that. Well, it can be used to against radar screens and radar antennas and to pepper some hole, make some holes into parked aircraft and helicopters. But it is not worth to carry. Instead, carry the next one, the middle one, the S-8. The S-8 rocket was developed based on the poor effectiveness of the S-5 rocket. The S-8 is a 80mm rocket, and it is still used by Russian aerospace forces and numerous air forces around the world. It is a very effective weapon. You get a lot of bang for your buck, and it has many different variants. If you're going on a mission and you don't know what you're going to encounter, then always bring some S-8s. They are very effective against infantry, soft-skinned vehicles, and they are also moderately effective against armored personnel carriers and infantry fighting vehicles. Although to knock out an infantry fighting vehicle or a armored personnel carrier, you need literally a direct hit. Eagle Dynamics have not modeled pressure, shockwave or fragmentation yet, but hopefully they will one day, because then the S-8 will be even more effective, and so will the S-5s. So the S-8 is a super all-around weapon used to make holes in parked aircraft, hit parked aircraft and helicopters at airfields, radar sites, SAMs in position, infantry, soft-skinned vehicles, armored personnel carriers, infantry fighting vehicles, buildings, not bunkers. It is not that effective against bunkers. So against bunkers we have the next one in line, the S-13 122mm rocket. I have a personal experience with 122mm rockets. During my deployment to Iraq, we came under fire numerous times from the Iraqi freedom fighters firing old Katyusha 122mm rockets. And I can tell you that anyone who laughs at a 122mm rocket is either mentally massively disturbed, does it out of ignorance, or is just a sick person. So this rocket I would use against smaller bunkers, buildings, sometimes runways if you can get hit on it. Infantry, soft-skinned vehicles, APCs, IFVs, and of course parked aircraft and helicopters, building concrete buildings, and as I said, smaller bunkers. Let's move on to the other side, where the big guys live. These three rockets are massive. Let's start from the left. The left one is the Su-25 rocket. It is a 240mm rocket. It is very effective against runways, concrete, buildings, bunkers, command centers, ammo bunkers, infantry, soft-skin vehicles, lightly armored vehicles, and even tanks. If you can get a almost perfect hit on a tank, it will destroy it. In the middle we have the Su-25 250mm rocket, if I remember. This rocket is the Su-24 just on the steroids, and as the Su-24, this is extremely effective against hardened bunkers, aircraft shelters, runways, concrete buildings, ammo bunkers, command bunkers, just about anything. Can you build it? This rocket can destroy it. So yes, very effective rocket. Lastly, we have the Su-25O, I believe it is. It is a 340mm rocket. The reason why it is so big is because it has this, I call it the, in Danish, vipserede, wasp nest, because this bulge, this is looks like a infection it has here with all the grooves on. This is 10,000 fragments, steel pellets, designed to explode and spread out over a vast area. I believe the fragmentation radius is 400 meters. That is almost half a kilometer. This weapon is extremely effective against SAM sites to make holes in radar screens, radar antennas, SAM missiles, vehicles, command vehicles, infantry, soft-skin vehicles. But because Eagle Dynamics does not simulate the fragments, it is not that effective against any armored vehicles, including just an APC. So this may look very big and evil, and it is, but it is mainly for making tiny 10,000 tiny holes. And remember, 10,000 is just the amount of pellet. Then you have the rocket itself that adds up to that number. So yeah, massive rockets. So to recap, the S5 almost not worth carrying, but moderately effective against infantry and soft-skin vehicles. S8 is the Swiss Army knife of rockets, effective against infantry, soft-skin vehicles, parked aircraft, helicopters in air bases, SAM sites, and the S13 effective against runways and everything below that. S25 effective against bunkers, buildings, and so the S13 is also effective against buildings and smaller bunkers, and everything below that. S25 is the biggest high explosive rocket there is, extremely effective against even the hardest bunkers and buildings and runways and so forth. The S-25O is extremely effective against soft-skin vehicles, SAM sites, parked aircraft, helicopter at air bases, and so forth. So that's it for the rockets. Now we know just a broad overview of the rockets. Next time we're gonna fire them. Thank you.